Hi, this is Amber from the A team. Today's session is on Google Hodgepodge. It's something that we call Hodgepodge because it's literally a mismatch of all sorts of different things. And this is a rapid fire kind of a session where we're not going to dig deep into anything really. We're just going to show you some quick tips and tricks and things that you may want to try out that are either part of Google or related to Google or integrated with Google. So first of all, the best idea to probably go through this with me is to go to our Google Hodgepodge site, and you can get there by using goo.gl/capital Z, capital W, lowercase p, lowercase v, capital O, lowercase f. So that's our site URL, and we'll get you to the Google Hodgepodge page. For those of you who don't know much about us, we've got a little information about the A team here. We also have a link to our YouTube channel that you can access by clicking on the picture. Don't use the link down here, that'll just take you to youtube.com. This actually will take you directly to our YouTube channel and a place for you to contact us if you have questions, follow-up questions after the session. Down on the bottom is a link to our Google Apps support site where you can find all things Google that we've created and collected to help you. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to start with something called Keep. Google Keep is now considered a core app with Google, and it's one of my favorites, and I think that it's one of Google's best kept secrets. It's just a fantastic app that I use every day in some way. So what is it? It's a multi-purpose tool. You can use it for all sorts of things, story starters, list making, for note taking. It's something that you can use in a browser. You can use it on your phone with the Keep app, and you can also use the Keep extension with Google Chrome. One of the great things about it you'll see is that it integrates with reminders and Google Calendar, and it also works in Google Docs and again as part of Chrome. And this app is really designed to keep you organized, and I love it. And you'll see some examples in just a minute. So there are some resources down to the left, a direct link to the Keep app, a Keep guide that we have created with some tips and tricks of how to use it. And then there's an overview directly from Google for their Keep overview. I'm going to open up this slideshow. So we're going to use this slideshow to show you some quick glances at what Google Keep can do. So what you're looking at now is the interface of Google Keep. Over on the left, you'll see that there's some labels, and in the middle, this part is where the Keep notes are held. And this looks a lot like little sticky notes, little boxes. So you can see this is sort of the interface that you would see in a browser. So one of the things that you can do with Google Keep is make lists. And so here you see a sample of a list, and notice there are check boxes next to it. I'm a really big checklist maker, and I love to cross off things when I'm finished. And you can see that with the check boxes, you can also mark out your completed items as you check them off. So over to the right, you'll see that there are labels. Google is very big on labels, and labels are just a way to help you filter so that you're seeing information pertinent to what you're looking for. So you can put labels on these Keep notes and then search for things using the labels. Then over on the bottom left-hand corner is something super exciting. Just like you can collaborate in Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and some of the other Google apps, Google Keep is fully integrated so that you can collaborate together. So you see Angie down on the bottom corner. She and I can make this list together. We can add things to it. We can check things off. And I can see her down in my note and when she's working in my note. So it's a great way to have some collaborative lists. Think about this with students. Maybe they're doing a project and you want them to design a list together, and they can mark off things to keep them on track. There are lots of different ways to use this. So not only can you make lists, but here are a few instructional applications. Over on the left, you'll see we have some teachers who are using Google Keep as a way to store vocabulary. So they can put their vocabulary list, and as they find the definitions or as they look up the definitions, they can add those definitions there. Notice that if you put a hyperlink there, it does create an active hyperlink. And if you'll see, there's a little reminder icon, just like with Google Reminders. If you put a date, for example, this says has a date here of when this is due. If you put a date on a note, it actually adds that to your reminders on your calendar so that you can actually use this to keep you on track, and you can access your notes from reminders, but you're also keeping yourself on track that way. You can also use it as a place to start stories. This was a Google Keep note that had a title and contents, and then it became an actual story starter in Google Docs. You can actually export them in Google Docs. So this was a great way to kind of get something started with a smaller scale, and you can broaden it. So I have my phone with me all the time. Most of us do now. It's attached to our hips. And I have the Google Keep app on my phone. And what I love about the Google Keep app on my phone is that I'm actually able to use the microphone icon on a note and record an audio note. And what Google Keep does is it tries to do some voice to text, and whatever I say in my note as I record it, it actually transcribes to the best of the voice to text capability what I've said, but it also leaves the play button. So if I need to go back and play in case it missed a couple words, or it mistyped something, I can actually click play and hear my note. This is a great way when you're just running somewhere and you just hit record and you record that note. You've actually got a Google Keep note that you can go back and use. Love this capability. For note taking, if you use the Chrome extension for Google Keep, as you see here in this little area, if you're on a web page and you click that Google Keep note, it will actually save that web page to the note. Notice it puts a link there straight to the site, and it even puts a little picture there to kind of that it pulls from that website. And then I can write notes about it. So think about this with students. Let's say you're doing a project with them and they're researching and finding materials. When they find something they like, they just add it to Keep, and they can say, use this for later, or, write some notes about what they found there, give it a label. And now in Google Keep, you've got this note that has the link and has the content that you wrote right there. So you can actually add things, bookmark things, and take notes all in one place using the Chrome extension for Google Keep. So multitasking, this makes me so happy because recently Google Keep has now started working directly inside of Google Docs. You'll notice this is a Google Doc, and right here next to it, this isn't two screens, this is the same screen. You can actually go into your tools. So you go into tools and you can actually open your notes from Keep so that you can scroll right here through your notes. So let's say I've been taking notes and I'm getting ready to write a research paper, and I know I have my vocabulary somewhere in Google Keep. I can pull it up right here while I'm typing my document. So this is a great way, especially for students. We have a lot of students who have a difficult time having multiple tabs open or going back and forth between windows. Now we can open up those notes right there alongside with the paper. So this is a fantastic extra piece that has just started in Google Keep. So definitely try out Google Keep. It's a wonderful tool. And again, there's some resources over to the left to kind of help you find some more information as you want to dig deeper in using that tool. So now let's go over to Google Drawings, which is another one of those apps that works right in a lot of the other apps, but it's one that people don't know a lot about. And so we like to highlight it in this Google Hodgepodge session. So Google Drawings basically provides you with this amazing empty canvas that you can do really anything to it. The limit is your imagination. So if you ever need to create anything visual, Drawings is the place to go. Think if you need to make label some images or charts or diagrams. We have lots of people that are creating infographics. You can collaborate on drawings just like you can in Doc Sheets, Slides, and Keep, so that you can share a drawing and you can all work on it together. And it actually creates inside of Drive, Docs, and Sheets, you can actually create a drawing right in that app. So it's an app that works inside other apps, just like Keep does now as well. You can also publish any created drawings to the web so that you can use them in a variety of formats, as well as download them as image files. So Google Drawings is definitely something, if you haven't had the experience with, it's something that you should check out. So let's look at some of the sample ways that you may want to use Google Drawings. So let's take a look at this little slideshow to give you some ideas of what you can do with Google Drawings. What you're looking at here is the interface of Google Drawings that has a lot of the similar tools that you see in some of the other Google apps. But what I want you to notice is this checkerboard background is kind of the universal symbol for transparency. And what I love about Google Drawings is that you're presented with a transparency background from the beginning. So if you are someone who likes to create a lot of images and use them on top of other things and in a variety of places, this is a fantastic way to get a transparent background immediately. So let's look at some of the other ways to use Google Drawings. First of all, you have to know how to get there in order to use it. So you can actually go into Google Drive and click New, and there's a little more area that you'll have to go over, kind of where Forms is, where you can find Google Drawings. Also, if you're inside Docs or Sheets, you can go up to Insert and insert a drawing, and it'll put a Google drawing right into your document or your sheet. You can also access it from the waffle menu or the Rubik's Cube, or you can simply go to drawings.google.com. So lots of different ways to get there. And once you're there, here are some quick little ideas of things you could do. This was a Google drawing canvas where we put a corkboard picture on the background that we just copied and pasted from somewhere else. We've added text boxes here that are in different shapes. And this is a great place if you want students to come and add some ideas. And this is one of those times that you can use collaboratively. So you could create it, share it with students in Google Classroom. They come to the document and all of them have the ability to add a sticky pin to the board. So that, and just like in Docs and Sheets, you can also go to the revision history and get some information about your Google drawing. So here's another idea, flow charts. Google Maps, not Google Maps, excuse me. So here's another idea, flowcharts. A lot of times we have to do some kind of graphic organizer or a thinking map, and this is just a flowchart using different boxes that you've created. This is a way that you could create something as a template, share it in Google Classroom, give every student their copy, and they can come and move things around on this Google drawing and turn it in as an assignment. So flowcharts. Dragging and dropping. This is a really simple way to get a quick assessment. Do you know if any of these animals is viviparous or oviparous, and that you drag them and drop them into the box. Another simple way of using drawings for a drag and drop activity. Annotating, there are lots of arrows and circles and shapes that you can put in Google Drawings, and so this is a screenshot of Camtasia showing with text boxes and arrows the different ways. So if you ever have to annotate something, it's really easy to do that using Google Drawings. Here's an example of a poster or a task card, things that you want to create. It might be a way that you just use Google Drawings to kind of create a poster or something that you're either going to print out or you're going to use somewhere else. It's a great way to create those graphics. Here's a way of taking a regular image that was a copyright-free image that was copied and pasted into the background of Google Drawings, and then these transparent text boxes were put on the front of it so that it made a graphic organizer template. Again, sharing with students in Google Classroom, they get their own copy and they can actually just type in and fill it out. Labeling, since like I said there are arrow tools or line tools, they can use arrows and make a line from your labels to parts of a plant. So you can kind of see this in a lot of different ways to use labels with arrows or lines, and those are also in Google Drawings. Here's an example of some virtual manipulatives. You can create shapes and give them challenges on try to make these designs out of these shapes. Again, this is just using tangrams, but if you wanted to make any sort of manipulative that would help them solve math problems or other kinds of things, you can make them in Google Drawings and share them, and the students can drag them and drop them around. Timelines. This is a simple way to make a timeline, but using photographs that are copied and pasted straight into a Google drawing and using the text box to try to design a timeline. A simple way to make a timeline. Here's another idea, making logos or crests or any kind of images that you need to make. This is the place where you can actually design your image, save it as an image, export it as an image, or share it on the web. So lots of different ways to use Google Drawings. So on the bottom of this Google Drawings page, you can see some additional resources. There's the link directly to the Drawings app, and also there's a guide to Google Drawings by Eric Kurtz that has some great tutorials on how to actually use the tools within Google Drawings. So that's Google Drawings. So let's take a look at integrations, apps, and extensions over on the left. Now there are literally hundreds and hundreds of different extensions and apps that you can use with Google and Chrome. So we're just going to highlight a few of the favorites that we've used. One of these is Share Directly to Google Classroom. Now this is an extension that you can add on, and it's some that people have used to make assignments or different things to post to Google Classroom, but one of the things that people don't know a lot about is that you can actually, if your students have Chromebooks and you've created a Google Classroom and they're in that classroom with you, when you're on a website that you wish you had the ability to push that website to your students' devices, you actually can. If you're on that page, you simply click on the extension for Google Classroom, choose your classroom, and it actually sends that page directly to the students' devices. So this is a great way to get them to the same web page all at one time. So keeping moving, we've got Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is another tool that works with Google Classroom. If you log into Edpuzzle using your Google account, all your Google Classrooms show up within Edpuzzle. So what is Edpuzzle? It's really a fantastic integration tool that also uses video. A lot of times we need some ability to make sure that our students are actually watching videos and understanding them, especially for those of us who might be flipping our classroom. In Edpuzzle, you simply search for a video. It could be a YouTube video, a TED Ed video, or lots of different other videos that exist online. You can pull that video into Edpuzzle, and Edpuzzle allows you to put some stopping points, embed some questions. You can actually crop the link, do some different assessment, and guide them through the video. You can prevent them from forwarding through it, so you can make sure they actually watch the entire thing. And it actually keeps up with the grading if you've asked questions that are, multiple choice or, true false kind of thing, not open-ended, of course, but it actually keeps track of your students so you can see if they've watched it. So it's a fantastic tool, and again, it works directly with Google Classroom, so your classrooms show up in your Edpuzzle account. Another extension we love is Nimbus Screenshot and Screencast. This tool is wonderful because it does both. It does screenshotting, but it also does screencasting. So if you or your students are wanting to capture videos while you're walking through something on the computer, you're wanting to also record your voice and add some annotation with arrows and text bubbles, this is a great free extension that you can add on to Chrome. Nimbus Screenshot and Screencast. Also, just to make sure as we're going through these tools, anything that's an image, you can actually click on that image and get to that tool or get to some more information about it. So make sure as you're going through the website, you actually click on the images to get to the resources. So the next one is Something that works inside Google Drive. A lot of people don't realize that there are actually some apps that can enter in and find a small part of your Google Drive and actually do something in there. One of the things we love to do, I store lots of pictures in my Google Drive. You can actually stick a picture in there, right click on it, and open it with an app and edit it with a great image editing tool right in your Google Drive that actually saves it right back to your drive. PicMonkey and Pixel Express are two that we love. You can open it up, do some editing, apply some cool filters, and save it right back into your Google Drive without having to have expensive editing software or downloading it and re-uploading it. It actually works right back into Drive. Now, for those of you who have some students who are either ELL students or EC students and maybe need some fluency practice, there is a tool called Read and Write that's actually an extension that works with Chrome. There are some free features and some premium features, but I just want to talk to you about the free version because it's fantastic to see what you can get for free. Using this extension, you can actually open up passages and have them read aloud to students, and it's of course an animated voice, but it's actually a very high quality animated voice. It's not too robotic. It's really nice actually, and it will read it aloud to the students. But one of the other things it does that's fantastic is it also provides a recording feature. While looking at an article, you can highlight something, hit record. The student can actually record themselves reading that article to you and send it to you through email if they're logged into their Google account. So this is a fantastic way to do some fluency testing and give some fluency practice to students. So moving right along, we have Google Cast for Education. In the past, a lot of people spent a lot of money on Apple TVs or Chromecasts or other tools that help student devices cast to the teacher's device. And Google has recently released Google Cast for Education app, where the teacher can actually install this app on their Chromebook or on their computer if you're allowed to log into Google Chrome on your computer. And anywhere you can log into Google Chrome, you can actually set up Google Cast so that you can invite students to cast their devices to your device. Now, how does that help you? If my device is connected to a projector, I can then project my students' work, my students still sitting at their desk, projecting to my computer, which is connected to the projector. So this is a great free tool to allow some projection of a student's screen to a teacher's device. And again, you have to be invited to your teacher machine, so there is that control from keeping people from just randomly connecting to your device. The next tool we want to share is goo.gl. Google has its own URL shortener, and a lot of people use bit.ly or some of the others that can shorten your URLs, but we want to tell you why we love the Google one. The Google one allows you to paste in a URL and shorten it to a very short URL. If you're logged into Google while you make that short URL, it keeps track, you can see over here in the picture, a list of everything you've shortened, and it also keeps track of how many people have clicked on it. Now that may not seem all that super fun, but if you've given the students a link and they're supposed to click on it and go do something, well, you can see how many people actually clicked on it or how many clicks there were on the site. You can also create a QR code instantly right in goo.gl. So if you're someone that uses a QR code and you've put into the shortening tool, you can make a QR code right inside goo.gl. Two more on this, integrations, apps, and extensions. Sometimes I need to send an email, but I'm going to be away from my Gmail while I need it to be sent, maybe at a specific time of the day, or maybe I want to wait and release an assignment to students in the evening. Boomerang is a great app and extension that allows you to actually schedule your messages in Gmail. You can write your email, choose to boomerang it, tell it what time to send it, and it will send it for you. So it's a great way to kind of schedule your emails. The last app on this page is one that actually just integrates with Google in that you can log into it with your Google account. And if you've ever wanted to use images, text, and videos and make an engaging presentation, Adobe Spark is a fantastic free tool for students and teachers. If you ever need to share something with students or have students share something with you, it's a very easy to use tool that provides a really great appearing product at the end. There's a link for a guide there to learn how to use it at the bottom of the page. So you can see there are a lot of apps and integrations that we shared with you, but again, there are hundreds of them, but we just wanted to highlight some of our favorites. So now moving on to hidden gems over on the left. So looking at some things that are hidden in Google, or you may just not even have known about, the first one that we want to talk about is fairly new, and that's called the Explore tool. Many of you used to use the research tool that was inside Google Docs, and we loved that research tool. Well, Google decided to change over to the Explore tool to replace the research tool. The Explore tool works inside Docs, Sheets, and Slides, and it appears in the bottom right-hand corner, and there's a little icon that if you hover over it, it says Explore. Or you can go to your tools and choose Explore, but it opens up right inside your app and gives you a place where you can do some Google searching. Now that may not seem super fantastic, but if you're inside an app and you do a search, it's going to pull up some different topics. It will pull up pictures related to that search, and it also pulls up related research, which is relevant to whatever you search for. So this is a great way to have students open up a document to take notes in, also doing some research over on the right, and having a place to put those items into the document. And it does provide the citations for those items that you insert into your document. So again, that's the Explore tool. Moving on, Smarty Pens, one of the most fun tools that we've come across, and Angie and I often joke that we have wasted a lot of our lives in Smarty Pens because it's something that's so fun. If you need to get your students excited about geography and motivated to learn about different parts of the world, Smarty Pens is super fun. It's a trivia game that basically you get dropped somewhere in the world, and you are given some clues. And what you have to do is use those clues to try to determine where you are. The closer you get to the actual location of where you are, the better, because what it does is it subtracts the amount of miles that you're off on your answer. So you want to try to keep as many miles as possible. So your goal is to get to the end of the game with as many miles as you possibly can. So you want to try to use your questions to help you really narrow down on those parts of the world. And the questions can be on entertainment, they can be on history, they can be geography questions, lots of different cool questions. And so I challenge you to try this out and not have fun, because it's absolutely fun. So the next tool is Google Sky. It's been around a really long time, so we call it an oldie but a goodie, or a standby tool. If you are teaching anything about outer space, this tool, even though it's old, has so many great images that are provided from NASA that you could just explore around the planets and the suns and stars, but you can also go in and look for some really fantastic high quality images from NASA. So that's Google Sky. Moving on, if you want to keep going traveling across the world but not in outer space, is Google Maps Treks. Maps Treks is a great way to use some predetermined areas of the world where they have taken some super high quality pictures. Some are in 360 format, so you can actually spin around and go in different places that are there. A lot of them are also pathed in that you can start in one area and climb up a mountain mountain or go deeper into the forest by following the arrows. And along the way in Google Maps treks, there's actually instruction all the way. So you get facts and information as you go. So click here, see if there's an area you're going to be studying with your students or just one you're personally interested in, and learn more about it and actually get to experience being there. So even if you don't have something like Google Cardboard, you can actually get immersed in that area of the world. So let's talk about Quick Draw. This is another one of these where you can lose a lot of time. It is an artificial intelligence system where as you're given a word to draw and you start drawing that word, and the artificial intelligence working behind it actually tries to guess what you're drawing. And it's actually creepy how close it can get to what you are drawing and how correct it can be. It's of course designed so that the more people that use it, the smarter it gets. So it's a really cool tool that you might want to use. And it, again, as this states, it's super fun and addictive. So that's Google Draw. So the next one is Google Arts and Culture. If you are wanting to explore different parts of the world, but doing it through arts and culture concepts, this is a great place to go, especially if you're wanting to do some virtual field trips to museums or going to learn more about historical figures or locations. There's art and information from over 70 countries that's in here. And even though you can't get in a bus and take your kids to the Louvre or some other places in the world, you can go into Google Arts and Culture and feel like you're there, because you can have thousands of works of art at your fingertips. There are some things that you can use Google Cardboard with that are virtual field trips. So if you do use Google Cardboard, this is another great place that you can go to use that tool and feel like you are exploring the world. The next little tip is right in Google Calendar. A lot of people feel like they know Google Calendar inside and out, but when we mention appointment slots to people, sometimes they don't really know about that because they haven't ever used that before. But there is the ability in Google Calendar to set up appointment slots. I personally don't want to share my personal Google Calendar with everybody and give them access to all the things that I do every day, but I would like to give them access to a certain block of time and allow them to sign up for 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks in this period of time. So you can actually use appointment slots with people who have Google accounts. They can actually come in with their Google account and take one of those appointments, and it will put it on my calendar and their calendar. And it's a great way to sign up for parent conferences if the parents have Google accounts. A lot of times people use it to sign up for guidance counselor lessons or for meetings with their instructional coach. There's tons of different ways. We have one teacher that uses it for her students to sign up for writing conferences. So a great way to use appointment slots. So that's something that you might want to check out. Now, something that I use a lot, Angie and I have a very comprehensive folder in our Google Drive that has lots of other folders inside other folders inside other folders, because we like to try to keep organized. A lot of times we find, however, that there may be a document or a file in Google Drive that we wish were located in more than one place, but we don't want to create a copy of it and put a copy in the other place, because then remember, once you create a copy, you sort of lose that live document concept. We wish that one document could just live in multiple places. Well, it can. Using the Shift-Z shortcut when you're on top of a file, notice here there's a little example in the picture. Here's a Google form that we needed in multiple places. We highlight it, we click Shift-Z, and instead of Move Here, you're given the Add Here location. And Add Here simply means it's going to make a shortcut to that document in another place. So if I come back to this document and I edit it, it's editing it everywhere because it's actually the same document. You're just adding a shortcut there. So if you ever want to add something somewhere, instead of moving it or making a copy, Shift-Z is definitely a keystroke you should know in Google Drive. So voice typing. voice typing is something that is fairly new to Google Docs and some of the other tools, but voice typing is a way that you can actually use your voice to begin to record words and numbers and different things on a document. If you have a student that maybe needs assistance typing or just prefers to dictate, or if you prefer to dictate things, you can go into a Google Doc and go to Tools, and you can turn on voice typing. And when you turn on voice typing, you get a microphone icon that you can just click and you can start talking, and Google will start listening and typing out what you're saying. So that's using the voice typing tool. Two more things here that we want to share with you in Hidden Gems. Both are really cool things that a lot of people don't know about. Google Alerts. A lot of us like to have information at our fingertips all the time, but sometimes weeding through lots of different things is difficult. So we can let Google kind of do that for us. With Google Alerts, you can actually go in and put a topic. You see in the picture we've put instructional technology, and you can receive alerts from Google and decide how often you want to receive the alerts, what kind of sources do you want? Do you want websites, blogs, discussions, videos? What language do you want them to be in? Do you want to narrow it down to a region, or how many do you want, and where do you want it delivered to? But you can create an alert, and you'll actually get, and you see the preview on the bottom, you actually get an email that has links to whatever you've asked to be alerted to. So if you just want information to come to you so you don't have to search it out, using Google Alerts is a great way to do that. And the final thing on this section is the Google Public Data Explorer tool. This is a great tool if you just need to look at data and do some comparison between different states and different countries. Now, this data comes from all sorts of different things. It comes from the Census Bureau, it comes from other countries' census, and all kinds of data that's gathered from other places. And it's put together, and it's basically just a warehouse of data. And you can actually play around with this dynamic data to do some comparisons. You can do, household incomes, or how far apart things are, or all kinds of different things that you can decide, educational levels or ethnicity levels. Basically, if you need to do anything with data and you need a big bank of data to practice with, this is a great place to go, especially if you're working on data with your students. So those are some of the hidden gems that we have on our Hidden Gems page. So let's move back over to the left and let's go to searching. You see how this is a super fast trip, and so now we're looking at searching. Now, one of the things that we have people say is, I know how to search. You just go in Google and you type something in the box. Students say that to us often, but what we say is you really have to know how to search and how to search well. So just to show you a couple either tips or some fun things that you can do with Google search, at the very top, a lot of students have decided, or have discovered rather, that if you type in an equation into a Google search and you hit enter, you actually get the answer. But if you're doing super complex equations and you type that into a Google search, you can actually be given a graph. And you see in this one is a dynamic moving graph here. So if there is a graph associated with that math problem that you're typing in, you actually can get some graphs depending on the equation. So that's just a fun thing. Now, the two links in this next box are two links that can help you really refine your searches. The top one is Advanced Search. Advanced Search brings you up to a page where you can actually choose a lot of different things to filter by. If you needed it to be from a certain website, from a certain date, you can go in and choose all those things and then hit search, turning all those triggers on, and then you're going to really narrow down your results quickly. So I would show students, particularly middle and high school, how to use the Advanced Search tool so we can make sure that they're getting better information instead of just using the main Google field. Also, there's the Advanced Image Search. if you want to teach your students how to make sure they're getting copyright-free images, or maybe they need an image in a GIF format, or maybe they need an image that has a transparent background that's less than a month old, you can actually go into the advanced image search and make sure that you are narrowing down your search that way. So moving right along, let's look at timers. A lot of times I need a timer, especially when we're doing a workshop and we need, a 5-minute timer or a 2-minute timer. You can actually go into Google, type 2-minute timer, and you're given an actual working timer with an alarm. This is a great thing to use with students, or if you do workshops or any activities where you need a quick timer. You don't need to find a stopwatch. Just go to Google and put in 2-minute timer or 5-minute timer, or whatever your minute need is, and you'll actually get a working timer. So search operators. You need to make sure that you know these search operators and that your students are familiar with them, especially if they're in middle and high schools. They need to know that there are actually some things that they can put in with their search that helps refine their searching. For example, using an asterisk for missing words can help out if they're looking for a quote and they need the quote, but they can't remember this one word they're looking for. If you put in site : right before a domain, then you're limiting everything to that site. So there are lots of different ways that you can refine your search, and this is just sort of a card of some of the main ones that you may want to make sure that you and your students know how to use. Also, when you do a search and it comes back, the Google search display page has some things that you need to be familiar with. We've all seen where it has all images, videos, news, and it gives you those different categories. But what some people don't do is click on the Search Tools button, and depending on what you have selected at the top, Search Tools gives you even further ways that you can narrow down. Now in this picture, the example is with images, but you'll notice when I click on Search Tools, I can actually narrow it down by size, color, type, which would be the type of image. Is it a PNG? What time it was posted, meaning in the last month, in the last week. And my favorite part of that is usage rights. I would make sure that you teach students when they are searching for images on Google, click on Search Tools and go to usage rights and make sure you're selecting ones that you can use. It's a fun activity to have them search for something, let them see how many hits they got, then go to Search Tools and change that usage right to something they actually have the rights to use, and see how narrow that list gets. It's really something they need to be made familiar with, especially as they're learning about copyright. Now, if you've ever needed to flip a coin or roll a die, try typing that straight into Google and you will actually get a die that does work. It's a 6-sided die that you can click on and roll, and a coin that you can actually flip that has heads and tails. So if you're doing any probability activities, you don't need to look for you don't need to look for actual manipulatives. You can use virtual ones. So for you younger teachers of younger students, it's great if you go into Google and type in what sound does a dog make. You're going to actually get a list of other animal sounds that Google will display, and these animal sounds actually are authentic animals. So if you have some younger students, or if you need to preview, maybe you have a student who has no idea what an owl sounds like, you can let them hear an actual animal sound. Just like the die and the coins, sometimes we need a calculator. So if you ever need a calculator, just go into Google and type calculator, and you are given an actual calculator with some scientific buttons on there as well. So you can actually get a working calculator right in your browser, and that's pretty cool. So the next thing is Google a Day. We are really surprised that a lot of people still have never heard of Google a Day, and it's been around a while. But what Google a Day is, it's a puzzle game where every day there are 3 new questions. The 3 questions are designed to help you learn to search better. So it's a strategic searching competition. So they get 3 questions, they're given some points. The faster they find the answers to those questions and answer them correctly, the more points they get. The great thing is the question always stays in front and the Google search window is in the back, so they can also always see their question as they're doing their Google search. And if they've learned those tips at the top using those search operators or different strategies that you've taught them, they should be able to find the answers to the questions quickly. The next is Google Scholar. Often we need to make sure that students are getting scholarly articles. And even for those of you who are maybe working on an advanced degree and you wanted to narrow down quickly and make sure you are getting to specialty scholarly articles and resources, just go straight to Google Scholar and you're able to get kind of all of those things weeded out, and you're making sure that you're getting scholarly articles. Down at the bottom of the searching page, there's some things that I want to go over really quickly. There's a document that gets you to some Google search tips. There's a page that shows you the anatomy of a search. When a search comes back, what do all those things on the search page mean? Then we talked about Google a Day. If you want to start using that with your students to help them be better searchers, there's some Google a Day lesson plans, and there's a link to that there. The next two are infographics that really talk about how to be a better searcher. So these are two tools that you really may want to use with students and introduce them to really help them learn how to search properly. The last one is a search poster, and it's a poster for students. So if you are wanting to print out something to hang in your room or post a link to it on your Google Classroom, there's a search poster there as well. So this has been all about search. So let's move over to shortcuts. So I'm going to click on shortcuts and we're going to talk about those really quickly. For shortcuts, some of these are there are tons and tons of shortcuts, but we're going to talk to you about some of the ones that we like. This first one I literally use every day because for some reason I like to close tabs. I just don't like having too many tabs open. Well, if you close a tab by accident, you can actually use Control-Shift-T and open back up the most recently closed tab. And if you keep doing that, you can open up the tab before that and the tab before that. So this has saved my life on many occasions because I accidentally closed a tab that I didn't mean to. So Control-Shift-T. Also, if you ever need to use another Google account, whether you're on your Chromebook or just on your desktop, it's really not a good idea to be logged into two Google accounts in the same browser instance. So if you use incognito, you actually open up a different version of the browser that you can use to log in with a different account. I use this a lot, so if you needed to log in as another user or as another Google account, open up the incognito window and go to Google and log in, and this can be super helpful if you need to troubleshoot something in a student's account. So the last ones, the last three, are actually Chromebook gesture shortcuts. So these can only be done on your Chromebook, but if you need to switch between tabs on your Chromebook, you actually use 3 fingers and you just move them to the left or to the right on your touchpad, and you're actually scrolling across your tabs. So if you've got 15 tabs open, this is a quick way to get across your tabs to get to the tab that you want. So definitely try switching between tabs. There's also a way to see every window you have open on your Chromebook, which is helpful if you have a lot of apps open. If you use 3 fingers and you slide down on the touchpad, you'll see all the windows that you have open. If you slide back up, you'll bring up the one window you were just on. To go backward and forward on a Chromebook, like on a website, going back and going forward, use 2 fingers and slide left and right. And it's super helpful if you need to go back and forward. And you can also use the back and forward buttons on your Chromebook, but we just wanted to show you a few gestures. There are also at the bottom of this page some shortcut resources. There's a comprehensive list of Chrome keyboard shortcuts and some Chromebook shortcuts that are there. And then there's a link to our site to learn more about Chromebooks. So if you're not really sure what's the difference between a Chromebook and a laptop, that might be a good place to start. So I'm almost out of breath, and we've gone through all our content on Google Hodgepodge. Again, this was just a mishmash of all kinds of different information in one place. To hopefully you learned something new today, and you're coming away with a tip or a trick or a new resource that you can use right away. So thanks for joining us for Google Hodgepodge.